Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Chapter 19, where we've been talking about chemical equations. Today, we are going to specifically talk about the different types of chemical equations, and you'll be able to identify them on sight. Okay, the first type of chemical equation is what is called a composition reaction. And what you should think of with the word composition is to compose or to make, okay? To put together. If you want to think about something like a music composition, you're putting notes together. Okay, so in a composition reaction, they will all take the pattern of X plus Y. In other words, two reactants, and you'll end up with XY. They're combined together. And there will always be a single product in a composition reaction. Product, remember, is what is made. So you start with more than one thing, and they get put together. That is a composition reaction. An example of such would be zinc plus sulfur combining together to make zinc sulfide. So you can see it very much just fits that pattern of one thing plus another thing, and you combine them together. Now, the exact opposite would be number 2, which is a decomposition reaction. And we think about something decomposing, it comes apart. So you have a substance, XY, that becomes X and Y. It falls apart. And you will, in this case, always start with a single reactant, one thing that falls apart into the other. Okay, an example of this is where you have something like water and it breaks up into hydrogen and oxygen. You can see you start out with hydrogen and oxygen in water and it breaks apart. That is decomposition. It is falling apart. Okay? Decompose, to take apart. Compose, put together. Now, the third type is a little different. This is called a single replacement reaction. And if you look at the reactants, what you'll see is you have X and Y together plus Z. And what ends up happening is you end up with ZY plus X. Pretty much what has happened is the Z and the X have changed places. So a single thing has been replaced. Okay, an example looks kind of complicated because of all the letters and numbers, but it's not. You see silver, Ag, NO3 is one thing, and you have copper. Okay, silver and NO3 are together, and your copper's by itself. And what you have is this copper and this silver switch places so that you end up with copper and NO3 and silver separately. Okay, you literally are just switching a single thing in the combination of how things go together. It's like they trade partners. Okay, silver and NO3 broke up and NO3 decided to go out with copper, if that'll help you remember. Okay? So that is a single replacement reaction. One thing is changed. Otherwise, the reaction stays the same. Now, the fourth type is what is called a double replacement reaction. And this is kind of like the single replacement, except you have switching of partners. So you have WX plus YZ. And what you end up with is WZ plus YX. So what you see here happening is the W and the Y have traded partners. So the Y ends up with the X and the W ends up with the Z. It is a double replacement. Okay, so you're still looking for that same pattern no matter what. So you have sodium and chloride, table salt, and our friend silver nitrate here, AgNO3, and the silver and the sodium are both going to switch. So you end up with the sodium with the NO3 and the silver with the chlorine. Okay, so you have 4 different types of patterns here. You have decomposition, where things are coming apart. You have composition, where things are going together. You have single replacement, where one that is single switches places with one that is double. And then you have a double replacement reaction where 2 pairs switch partners, and you end up with a mix that way. Okay? You will need to be able to identify what type of chemical reactions you are given. Okay? If you cannot do that just by going through this once, make sure that you go through a few times, and they will follow these patterns. Make sure if you have questions that you get them asked. And until next time, I will talk to you later.